So we have reports that suggest that there is a growing belief around the league that Ben Simmons will not be traded by training camp. There are some rumors about the T-Wolves who are persistent with him, but it's going to require more teams. There's also other reports that say the Sixers really want Damian Lillard and they're not going to move Ben Simmons for anything much lower than that, so some assortment of picks and young guys from the Spurs might not get it done, whatever, right? So what do the 76ers look like if Ben Simmons is actually there and potentially starting the regular season? It's tough because we know that Doc and Embiid threw him under the bus after they lost to Atlanta. We've got all these reports about Ben not answering anybody's calls. The fear is that it's really awkward and it has a Carmelo Anthony on the Nuggets-esque cloud over the team that doesn't allow them to be as open with each other or have the best chemistry, and as a result, it makes them worse, right? And I think a big reason potentially for that is that it would be a media circus where it's just constant questions after every single game. Ben, how do you feel about your place on the team and all that stuff? And if it really got to that point, I think it would require this team having like a real sit down and hashing as many things out as they can. And I mean, we've heard of them trying that in the past. Granted, that was under Brett Brown and Jimmy and Redick were there, but we know that nothing really came out of that, according to Jimmy and Redick when they did that podcast like a couple years ago at this point. And I do fear that the longer it would go, the more pressure there would be on the Sixers to trade Ben for something they don't really want to trade him for. We did see the report that they rejected a Malcolm Brogdon offer. How crazy do the T-Wolves want to go with an offer? Of course, everyone has suggested the CJ for Ben trade, and the whole time I've been like, I don't think that makes them any better. Now, that said, Daryl Morey is running the show, and I do think Daryl would be more stubborn than most at holding out until the star player for Ben trade becomes available. Once again, Damian Lillard seems to be the one guy they really want. So it just comes back to if everybody can handle the situation professionally enough. And maybe there's a world in which the bridge is not burned between Ben Simmons and the Sixers. Let's be optimistic. Let's say doesn't get traded. Ben's like, all right, cool. I'm on this team. Everybody, let's buy in. Let's try to do what we can. I mean, they were the 1 seed last year with Embiid missing a decent chunk of the season. And of course, Ben was all defense, and there were a lot of people who thought he should have been the defensive player of the year. So they can certainly rack up wins in the regular season. I do fear that the underlying not amazing chemistry would pop up again in the playoffs in a tough series. That and also just Ben potentially being afraid to shoot again. We'll have to see if Damian Lillard actually wants to get moved, which as of right now it seems like he's going into the season with the Blazers. If things are not going well 30 games in, that could change. We'll have to see if Morey is willing to step down a little bit from the high asking price for Simmons. Maybe signs of the chemistry being really bad could influence that. And as crazy as it sounds to suggest, maybe there's a world in which it's like, nah, it's kind of cool. The other thing I would say, and I've said this occasionally, is like, what if they added another scorer while holding on to Ben? I mean, they did give Danny Green a very tradable contract. Since he re-signed, I don't know for a fact if they could trade him before December 15th. But even so, they'd have to be willing to probably give up some young guy, and I don't know if they'd want to do that. Maybe Tyrese Maxey makes a jump. So we'll see. My gut is that Daryl Morey is willing to allow this to get awkward. Now, if we're 15 games into the season and the team is like 7-8 as a result of a divide between Ben and the rest of the team, and there's just all the pressure in the world to make a move, then we'll have to see.